Hello, good morning. It's just gone 9 AM on Tuesday the 24th of February and I'm heading out to Midford, a few miles south of my hometown of Bath, on a bus using my newly acquired free bus pass, and I'm going to be continuing my exploring of the Stopline Green. But today there's an added bonus. We're going to be crossing a lesser known Roman road. That's what's coming up. I'll see you out at Midford. Just got off the bus on this fairly busy B road at Clearbrook Farm. In the distance there, that's Midford Castle, and down there is the Wellow Brook. Today I'm going to be continuing my exploration of the Stopline Green. So just a quick recap, here's a fortified line protecting the port and the city of Bristol in the Second World War. It started on the Bristol Channel just south of Burnham-on-Sea, followed the River Brew inland, crossed the Mendips, came over the Mendips following the course of the Somerset and Dorset Railway and the Wellow Brook, and now it climbs out of this Wellow Valley, and that's what we're doing today. We're going to follow its course up over that hill, going to go through Hog Wood and then drop down the other side to Freshford, and I'll be getting the train back from Freshford this afternoon. I referred to it in a couple of videos. I became an old age pensioner recently. It is my 66th birthday a couple of weeks ago. I got a pay rise and a bus pass. Other people got arrested. So this is my first day out trip really, exploring with my bus pass, although I've used it a couple of times to get in and out of town. This is a road that I try to avoid cycling up. I'll sometimes come down it, you can see it can get quite busy with traffic, and up there's a left-hand bend and you always feel vulnerable going round there on the way up. So if I do cycle up here, I'll quite often get over here and just ride up the pavement. It's a country pavement, so you're not impeding pedestrians, just feels safer. You can see the line of the summit along there. Just before that there's a kink in the road, and that's when we're going to cross over the road, get on the footpath and start heading through Hog Wood. There's an anti-tank trench, an infantry trench, neither have been filled in, so they're still very visible by all accounts, and there's 3 pillboxes we're going to pass before then we start dropping down to Freshford, and there's more pillboxes there. This is the walk I'm going to do today. It's from Major Green's book that I've been referring to on previous videos, Stopline Green. So much information here. He gives you several suggested circular walks. I'm not going to make this a circular walk. I'm actually going to go through Hog Wood rather than circle and come back to here. I'm going to carry on across the A36 and drop down to the Avon Valley at Freshford. And again, you'll see I bought my Garmin Edge 130 Plus that I use on my bicycle. Once this picks up a GPS signal, I'm just going to press it and start recording my walk. I should have done it when I got off the bus, but I forgot, to be honest. We're just approaching this left hand and then a right hand S-bend, and on the left hand side of it we're going to cross the road, hit a footpath. That's looking down at the pillbox from here right in front of me. Stopline Green would have come up through those woods. You may just see the line of the summit through the other side of the woods. It carried on that way. We're going to turn left, head right and intersect it. Before we intersect it, we're going to cross the remains of the Roman road I'll tell you about. We're nearing the summit. We're in this S-bend, and just as we come up to the right hand sharp deviation, you may see over on the left hand side there's a little driveway up to some houses, and that's what we're heading for, but not until we get right opposite on the pavement it's safe to do so. That's where we're going to start our walk, skirting around that house and that farm there. Okay, here we are, Hill Farm, breaking the traffic, call these lovely daffodils, and it says up here at the upper end there's a stile indicating a footpath. Ah, that looks like it's through there. Yeah, public footpath. Gosh, look, all this late snowdrops. So at the top of the S-bend, can you see? So there's a driveway up to a house that way, road up to a farm, and we are heading this way to that kissing gate. The description of the walk says, once over the stile and up the bank, the back garden of Hog Wood Lodge, which is that, is on the right. It contains a Type 29 pillbox, visible only in winter. But that's the woods we're heading towards. You can see the footpath sign off to the right. You can see the footpath heading around the back of the house, and then it's going to curve round to the left into the woods, I believe. And there's the pillbox there, look. Gosh, they've made that into an outdoor leisure area, haven't they? The wooden shed, the seats, and I can see lots of lovely outdoor lighting. Gosh, that's really, really nice. A bit like at the Melksham end of that walk last week, somebody's made that into a feature, haven't they? It's there anyway, why not make it attractive? They really have there. I try my best to keep my videos as accurate and as authentic as possible. If I do make mistakes, I'll quite often edit them out of the video altogether so you don't see them. Or sometimes I think if they're relevant, they need to be added. I'll put the correction on the screen in text, you know, with the stars either side of it. So that's always a mistake I've spotted. A couple of things I wanted to put straight. I'll just repeat what I said on the last video. The people who overlaid the pillboxes onto Google Maps refer to them as Type 24s. I believe that's a Type 24 back there, the hexagonal-ish shape. Major Green refers to them as Type 29, so that explains that inconsistency. I don't know what the true designation is, but up to now I've been referring to them as Type 24s because that's how I mainly navigate via Google Maps, so I'm going to stick to 24s, even though Major Green refers to that one there as a Type 29. And the other thing I said last week, the anti-tank bollards weren't on the Google Map overlay. When I thought about it afterwards during the editing, I realised that overlay is just for pillboxes, I believe. I think I got it from the British Pillbox Survey. So it wasn't an omission, it wasn't an error. A pillbox survey is not going to be putting other things on the map, are they? So I just wanted to correct that. It wasn't an omission or a mistake. Can you see we're heading towards the woods? And there's a stile there. When we get there, I'll tell you about the Roman road. Can you see a couple of 100 yards on, there's this fenced cropped field. We're just about to enter the woods here. I think that's the first of the pillboxes in the wood. There's some green netting around something next to it. Let's go and see what that is. Just a few 100 yards from the road, you can see the tops of traffic going down behind the farm there, and it carrying on that way towards Hinton Chartrace. Stop line green will have come over the hill through that farm, and there's the next pillbox, the first one inside the woods, just off to the right hand boundary of it. But I also wanted to tell you about the course of a Roman road, a quite obscure one that not many people will have heard of actually, so I'll tell you about that here actually. About a month or so I was down at the bottom of Midford Hill doing some filming, which I never posted, and I bumped into an old cycling friend down there who actually lives right next to the stream. And I told him what I was doing that day about the stop line green, and he said to me, oh, I'm interested in history as well. I believe there used to be a Roman road up here as well. I need to find out more about that. And I've got an interest in Roman roads, and I've also got access to various bits of research which I cannot reproduce, but I can basically reformulate them and share them with you. So this is the Roman road he was referring to. Ivan Margry, who basically wrote the Bible that most historians still refer to, numbered and catalogued all these routes, and he referred to this as Margry's 52. It was basically the Bath to Badbury Rings near Wimborne, and then on to Poole on the South Coast Road, and I've tried to highlight it there in yellow. So can you see that B road there? That's the busy B road we came up through Midford. It's paralleled by the busy A36, which we're going to be crossing soon. The two intersect down there just off map. Can you see the Roman road came right through the middle of it? So the modern day B road is actually hugging the edge of that hill. I mean, taking the steepness of the contour out. So the Roman road literally came from Bath straight over, as they do. They didn't go round obstacles, he went straight over them. So this could well be the course fit through here somewhere. So I've got a PDF copy of the Bible of Roman Road Research, Roman Roads in Britain by Avon Margery, first published in 1955, although it was revised a few times. And on page 132, I cannot copy that and reproduce it because of copyright reasons, but I've made a few bullet points, a few notes in effect, so I'll just summarise it really. This section is Bath to Frome, 9.5 miles. This is the northern portion of the road to Badbury Rings. Margery indexed that road as M46, M for Margery. It left Bath by Prior Park Road, footpath on Combe Down, terracing past the east side of Midford Castle, down to Midford Bridge. I doubt whether it's the modern Midford Bridge on the road that we got the bus on, but it could have been, but crossing the Midford Brook somewhere there. Beyond, road ascended steeply on the east side of the present main road, that B road that we got the bus out on. Remains of Agger, that's the curved semicircular cross section of a Roman road to allow drainage, water flow off. The remains of the Agger have been found at intervals from this point to Hinton Charterhouse, partly marked by hedgerows, so this could well be it, the Roman road. Margery 52 appears similarly indicated by hedgerows and footpath near Norwood Farm. Ordnance Survey mark the Aggers here, we're more or less on, and then I just traced it from Bath through Midford with a ruler through Norwood Farm. I'm not saying that's the exact course, but that's roughly the course. So you can see it's sandwiched in between the B road we came out on and the A36, both heading down towards Warminster, Frome way. They actually merged just off this map here, round about there. So this is a lesser known Roman road that ran from Bath down to Badbury Rings near Wimborne, and then on down to the south coast at Poole 2,000 years ago. So regular viewers will know I sometimes retrace Roman roads and try and cycle them, not 100%, but just to get a flavour of a journey 2,000 years ago. So when I found out about this Roman road, I thought I'll use one of my research tools, LiDAR Finder. LiDAR basically is laser mapping. Aeroplanes fly over the landscape, fire lasers down, and it penetrates through vegetation and undergrowth, overgrowth, and you'll get features on the land. So I wondered if I could trace that Roman road. I didn't, but look what I did find. There's the S-bend on the road where we crossed over and started making our way across. That blue dot, I'd imagine, is where we are. Yeah, right on the boundary of the woods. So I will put slides up, but look what happens if I drag that blue spot. That's where I am. My phone is anyway. Can you see the very distinctive Z? That's the anti-tank trenches and the infantry trenches that were dug as part of Stopline Green. So the LiDAR has picked that up through all these trees in the woods. That's what I love about technology, especially someone like me who's not trained in it, who's just a beginner, messes about with it, tries to find out how it works and what it'll do. I tried to use it to trace the course of a Roman road, and what I did was actually located a 1940s trench. In fact, I can see it from over here. Actually, we'll go and have a look. I'm just going to read what it says. It leads to a wooden stile into Hog Wood itself. You are on the friendly side of SLG, Stopline Green. Immediately after the stile on the right, in the corner of the wood, is a Type 26 pillbox. Running parallel with a footpath through the wood is a section of unreinstated tank trap. It gives a clear idea of the design and dimensions of this type of anti-tank obstacle. Such length and good condition are found nowhere else on Stopline Green. I know from someone else's video that I watched on YouTube about a month or so ago, these woods are used by archers for archery practice, and it says here, field archery takes place in these woods. For your safety, stay on the public footpath. Oh, I see. I wondered what that green mesh was. It's a target, isn't it? And there's the trench, look. Waterlogged this side. Anti-tank trench. And it comes right up to the pillbox. So they must use the line of the trench for target practice. Any stray arrows, maybe, go into the pillbox. I've got my head torch and a video light. Let's see if we can get in the pillbox. It looks like we can. Very damp and wet around the edge, as you can see, the edge of the doorway. It's a very low doorway. It's quite a crouch, and we're not going to get in. Can you see? It looks like it's absolutely flooded. Yeah. This is very different design to the other ones I've been in so far. The Type 24/29. It's the more hexagonal ones with the blast wall in the middle. Gosh, there's a really booming resonance of my voice in here. Not sure if that's coming out, very echoey, but yeah, completely flooded, look. So we've partially got it in. Just hear the noise of the road over there. Cannot see it from here, it's just over the brow of the hill. It's amazing to think Romans would have travelled along here from Bath down to the south coast at Poole, vice versa, maybe all of the journey, maybe part of it, down to Bradbury Rings anyway, according to Ivan Margery. Bradbury Rings was a road junction. It was a bit like a hub, a bit like Old Sarum near Salisbury, a hub junction, circular, with spokes going off, different roads going off in different directions, and this is one of them. In 1940, very rapidly, this was all built and constructed. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about its construction on different videos, but there's one section where they have to do a survey in 1940 to see whether they can make a man-made trench over the Cotswolds, because up to now it's been following rivers, hill lines, railway embankments, you get the idea, canals, that sort of thing, and over the Cotswolds they just had no natural obstacles, so they looked into digging trenches, and they needed to survey it because of the lime content, whether they would be able to dig that with manpower or they would need excavation equipment, tractors, motorised vehicles, that sort of thing. Again, more about that later in the series. The first anti-tank trench, gosh, an anti-tank trench almost intersecting, or possibly intersecting, with the Roman road. Who knows, that could have been actually on the course of the Roman road. Ivan Margery suggests the hedgerow is the course of the Roman road. I know there's a lot of glare here. You can see the grey area is the LiDAR section of the map. The blue spot is where I am, or should I say where my phone is. So we're going to walk parallel to this anti-tank trench. This is a great spot, it really is. Clearly defined anti-tank trench. The first Type 26 pillbox I've been inside, or nearly inside, and the course of a Roman road. And just these lovely woods, which makes me want to go in and explore. Meanwhile, I want to follow these instructions because it's clearly telling me where to head and what to look for. Where the wood thins to a double strip of trees, there is a Type 29 pillbox, that's a hexagonal stroke Type 24 type, on the left, and some partially refilled infantry trenches. They are the only ones surviving on Stopline Green SLG, and are evidence that here, at least, there was defence with a little depth behind the anti-tank obstacle. There's the entrance to the woods. I've just came through. The pillboxes here off to the right, as is the anti-tank trench. Very, very clearly defined one. I'm going to go back to the footpath, walk alongside parallel to this, and follow the instructions from the book. As I said, it's a circular walk, but I'm going to do 180 degrees of it, half a circle, and then rather than double back to Midford that way over there, I'm going to carry on to Freshford, drop down into the Avon Valley, follow the line of the Stopline Green. Okay. It's a bit muddy along here. Every now and again I'm just going to walk over and look down into the anti-tank trench that we're walking parallel to. Oh gosh, more targets, look. They clearly use this channel, look, for target practice, look. Gosh. As Major of Green referred to it in this walk, we're on the friendly side of Stopline Green. So this was the anti-tank defence to try and stop or even slow tanks coming from the south if they'd landed on the south coast coming this way. Oh, this is quite nice. A less muddy footpath, and it actually is running alongside. We're up on this little raised level, the northern bank of the trench, running this way. You could see from that LiDAR image the formation was almost in a Z, so there's a straight section. Here's our first, if not a right angle bend, a very sharp bend off to the right. This is quite nice, this little footpath. Walking alongside it is less muddy. Gosh, there's so many targets along here. There's one painted as a hog. Just over that slight rise is the dip of the trench. Back on the footpath now. Probably need to follow the instructions through here so I don't get lost in the woods. Some form of basic shelter there. In fact, there's two, aren't there? There's a big farm over there. Somebody's made a swing there by the look of it with that rope. Cannot see the traffic, but you can just hear the gradual roar of it over there. So in effect what we're doing is we're coming up from the Wellow Valley, climbed up Midford Hill, and we're very shortly going to drop down into Freshford, down into the Avon Valley. Just before we drop down to Freshford, we're crossing a very busy A36 road. I'm actually loving this, I really am. It's a lovely day now as well, the sun's really bright. I now feel like I'm over the hill, the highest point between the Wellow Valley and the Avon Valley. We're heading towards the A36. In fact, I can see traffic going along there. And the walking guide says, as you get to a thin strip of trees, we're here. Look out for a Type 29 pillbox. In fact, there it is right behind me on my left. We're at archery area number 27. I'm guessing that's what it is. Another one of those targets behind that green mesh. So defence in depth, a pillbox either side of the woods, and that big anti-tank trench. And here we have the trench leading up that target. Whether that's the infantry trench, I'm not sure. I'll need to get the LiDAR map up and have a look. Want to go to the pillbox and see if we can get inside this one. Again, see the brick facing coming away as all the ivy roots have got in. Moss all up on it. This would be the northern side, wouldn't it? Southern side's that way. This would be the northern side. You can see it's very damp, look, with all the moss and all the signs of a north facing wall. Right, let's see if we can get inside. The entrance has been partially bricked up. That's the blast entrance of the door.
Dust on the pews, whispers of old, ghosts in the walls, their stories untold.
That's a very small portal to get through. I'm not going to risk bashing my head getting in there. Let's have a look around the other side. I've got the video camera on the low light setting, which is actually quite good at, and I've got a video light on as well, so hopefully we're getting something from inside these pillboxes. From this walk then on page 28 it continues. Where the wood thins to double strip of trees, there is a type 29 pillbox stroke 24 on the left and some partially refilled infantry trenches. So this is the pillbox and the partially refilled infantry trenches. So not as deep as the anti-tank ones. And again you can see they're being utilised and used for modern day use for the archery practice. So you can see the big line here and the pillbox, and there's a pillbox over there and the anti-tank trenches. Seems much more of a defensive line here, much more effort gone in here. Well, I suppose it's at the top of the hill, isn't it? So it says they are the only ones surviving on Stopline Green and are evidence that here, at least, there was defence with a little depth behind the anti-tank obstacle. Another Type 29 in very good condition is visible along the tank trap to the right, photograph 12. The footpath continues to the gate at the far end of this narrow bit of wood. So we've got yet another pillbox at the end of the anti-tank trap. So we saw one at the beginning, it looks like there's one at the end. Let's go and find that. So that is saying there's 3 pillboxes in here, an anti-tank trench and the infantry trench, and that confirms it. At Google Maps, look, the blue pins are the pillboxes. So there was type 26, the one that was flooded, the square one at the entrance to the woods. Here's where we are. That blue spot is my Google homing spot. Well, should I say the phone's homing spot. Right next to here, this type 29/24 pillbox. And it says at the other end of the anti-tank trap ditch, there's another type 29/24 pillbox. So there's 3 in this wood. So that all corresponds. The anti-tank trench is like in that Z shape with a pillbox at either end. That's still my homing device spot there, that blue spot from when we entered the woods. So the 3rd pillbox in here should be at the far end of that, about there. But can you see, I think we're down in this V here, because I think that thin grey line is this infantry trench. So it all makes sense once you're on the ground. A combination of description, LiDAR, the Google Maps, and just a ground survey. So the footpath is here. I've just come off the footpath slightly. I'm going to retrace back to it and then overshoot it and head up to the anti-tank trench, because there should be another pillbox at the far end of that man-made ditch. Here's a little gap in the trees. Back on the footpath. We just went off left down to there. Then I believe the other pillbox should be up there, and there's some more green netting here suggesting archery targets. So I'm guessing, and this would be the end of the anti-tank trap. There should be another, should be the third pillbox here. So here's the anti-tank trap. Is there another pillbox here? Certainly targets along here. Gosh, you really could say that would be very effective as an anti-tank trench. It's very steeply sided. Not particularly deep, but just steeply sided. Somewhere along here, we're looking for another hexagonal-ish type pillbox. Down here somewhere should be a pillbox. I think I've seen it there right in front of us. Exactly as all the sources suggest. When I was at home reading this book and planning this, I found the reading, without being on the ground, a bit confusing, but once you're in here it makes complete sense. It's really accurate. The only thing is it's a little bit out of date where it says you cross wooden stars, and they're not, they're modern metallic kissing gates. Other than that, everything's exactly as Major Green describes. Gosh, not sure if we're going to get much closer to that pillbox in here. Gosh, three-dimensional target down there, look, a pig. I think to get access to that pillbox we're going to need to scramble down the tank trench somewhere. There's some ropes here. There's some very handy ropes here for scrambling down into the trench. Looking up at the pillbox into the sun. Three-dimensional target here, look. Another pull rope. I'm trying to get up there. Let's see if we can scramble up this one. Okay, I've managed to scramble down using that rope past the hog target. We're over this side. Big farm down there. Now here we are. A lot of fallen branches around here. Edge of the wood, I suppose. Vulnerable to the winds. Let's see how close we can get to this pillbox. Can we get inside this one today? The other two have either been flooded or really inaccessible. This will be the third pillbox today. Can we get inside this one? The first one was flooded and inaccessible. The second one looked just too dangerous to attempt to get inside. This one is okay. So you can see with these Type 29/24s, straight inside you've got a blast wall, and then you've got all the firing ports right here. Oh, it's not too bad in here actually. The ivy's starting to come in. Again, look, the supports for the Bren guns. Allow that to swivel. That's what they'd have looked at. Can't imagine anything more terrifying, seeing a load of people approaching you who want to kill you or destroy you. Gosh, old bottle there, look. Because this is inaccessible, you can really see the ivy starting to come in. See the clear structure, the concrete in here, and the brick facing in here. Same sort of pattern, the mount for the Bren gun, so it can swivel, turn. All these areas, I imagine that's for the troops to rest on, so they could fire through those apertures if needed. Thank goodness they never were. Oh, it's nice to have got inside one of these today actually. You can see it's not too bad in here because it's raised, unlike the other ones that were getting the water flowing into them, and also because this is fairly difficult to get across to. You don't have all the beer cans and the smashed glass in. Here we are, the L-shaped door, and you've got the blast wall just in front. North facing wall again, look how damp it is. And we're back outside. I've just got to go along there, scramble back down, then pull myself up the blue rope. Gosh, look, all the arrow holes in this target. There's an old bit of softwood. Oh, it's quite rubbery at the front. All the arrow holes. Oh, it's been glued together in parts, look. I was able to scramble down through the trench. It's not particularly deep, but it's quite slippery and steep and muddy. So those pull ropes were really welcome. Wow, that view. Facing south, that would be the suspected direction of the enemy if they had have landed. So what I did before on the bicycle, I came up and rode alongside these woods over there about half a mile, you may remember, on that B road along to Hinton Charterhouse, and then I turned left. There's a road which joins the B road with the A36, and I rode along there. But today we're going to take a footpath across, and we should come out right opposite where we want to. So it'll just be a quick run across the A36, then we'll be on some very quiet roads heading down to Freshford. I'm loving this. I did quite a bit of prep at home, because when you read guidebooks like this, it doesn't really make a lot of sense until you get out there, because you just have to hope it does make sense and you can follow it to the best of your ability. Then I started using LiDAR to see if I could just trace the course of the Roman road. I wanted to know when I was about to cross it, and I didn't find it on LiDAR, but what I did find was these trenches really clearly outlined from above. And now I look at it closely, you can actually see the infantry trench as well, the thinner of the grey one. That really gave me like a mental picture of what was happening through these woods. Because on Google Earth it just looks like woods next to fields. But the LiDAR just made it come alive really. And of course when I got here everything made complete sense. I knew what I was looking for. 3 pillboxes, an anti-tank trench and some infantry trenches, all pretty much left unfilled, overgrown a bit, but otherwise as they would have been in 1940, 85, coming up to 86 years ago. Right, I need to find my way back onto the footpath and head out the woods. And that's what I'm looking for, the public footpath, so we can continue that way out of the woods. So I've just left the woods there, Hog Wood. That's been fantastic. I'll definitely come back here again sometime. Okay, I've just left Hog Wood to that kissing gate there, the metal gate, following the directions of the book because it's a circular route, and then it says carry on that way towards that corrugated roofed barn, because this is the top of the circuit really, and then it would be taking you anti-clockwise back to that car parking area at the top of Midford Hill on that S-bend. But I want to carry on this way, but I want to turn right. I'm heading down into the Avon Valley down to Freshford. So we're heading towards the A36, you can hear it from here. Just past the dog walker there, going towards the woods. There it is, side on view. So I'm heading towards this gateway here, and that's, you may see the traffic zooming by, that's the A36. I need to run across that. By my bearings, I should be quite close to the road, dropping down steeply into Freshford and the Avon Valley, continuing the abstract line of Stop Line Green.